Welcome to Receptionist Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams training. In this video, we'll show you as a receptionist having the add-on package to your Microsoft Teams, how to access your console for your receptionist, how to log in, how to set up your console, how to create contacts and groups, how to do a one-click transfer, how to do a safe transfer, a consultative transfer, also how to send an email callback reminder, and also how to do a chat callback reminder. Your Receptionist Attendant Console can be found at fusionconnect.com/support/ms-teams-support. From this webpage, you'll click Download the Attendant Desktop app. Above the app download, you can also find a user guide. So accessing the URL, I'm going to click Download the Attendant Desktop app. To download the desktop app, click Download. You can see here that I'm downloading the Attendant Console. Your download will either show up on the top right corner, maybe on the bottom left corner of your screen. Once your download software is complete, it'll state Done. By clicking this, you receive or preparing to install on your computer. It's installing your Attendant Console. Once your console is downloaded, click Sign In. From here, it's going to ask you to sign into your console using the same privileges that you would sign into your Teams with. Your Teams email address. It'll say Open LAN as console, and you'll now be directed to your console with your same credentials that you're logging into Teams. So once you're entered your console, it will be blank with sections or panels configurable. So on the top right corner, you will see settings. You also see your status. Your status can be changed, whether it be available, busy, just like in your Microsoft Teams. Available, busy, do not disturb, etc. You can also sign out of your console here. Beside that, your horizontal shish kebab. If you click Settings, this is your settings for your console. So under General, you have the language and the theme, whether you want dark mode or light mode. Search, contacts. So to add contacts, we'll do that here. But the first thing we want to do is the actual layout. So if you go to Layout, in other words, these panels behind this screen, to edit your panel, you'll click Configure Layout. This is your standard 3-column 4-panel. So this is what you'll see, 1.1, 2.1, 3.1, and 2.2. So here you can see to the right exactly what is in each panel. Your calls will be in 1.1, contact search is in 2.1, followed by the contact card of your search in 2.2. To the right is your contacts. This all can be configurable by you adding options. So if you want your voicemail, you can add it to whatever section panel that you want. Let's just say 3.1, for example. I'm going to click Apply. There are other options that you can choose. If you choose not to have a 3-column 4-panel, you can choose a 2-column 4-panel, etc. You can also customize your own panel. Exiting out, you'll see now that I've added voicemail as an option to my 3.1 panel over here to the right. The top right corner, you'll see voicemail. If you have a voicemail, you'll see that here, and you can see whatever voicemails you have, and clicking them, you can play those voicemails to the bottom. Group contacts. So under group contacts, we're going to go back into our settings and show you how you can actually, you can search for contacts, but show you how you can add groups of contacts. So here, go to Settings, go to your Contacts section. We have a Favorites contact group, so let's add a new one. Let's call the new group All Employees. Hit back, and now you can see I now have a new group called All Employees. You can create as many groups as you want. Maybe a group for each location that you have, maybe in Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Los Angeles, California. If you have employees in those areas or at different locations, you can create groups. Once you add an employee, you can add them to whatever specific group you'd like. Let me show you. So using the top search option, let's search for a contact. By name, there's Bill Fisher. So here I can add them to a contact group. I can add them to favorites or add them to all employees. Let's just add them to all employees. You can see that he's added. Search for someone else. Phil Henry. Same thing. Add him to a group. We'll add him to all employees. So you can see here that it's actually being added. If I go to all employees, you can see these two contacts are here. So the point of your console is when you're receiving calls to deliver those calls to your contacts in the most favorable, fastest option that you can. Your status, you can actually see Bill Fisher just became available. Clicking him, you can see here his contact card. You can see information of his card, his calendar, if he has anything on his calendar, and also his organization within your company. So let's look for somebody else. Mary Johnson. So you can see how you can add whatever contact you'd like by searching from them at the top, pulling them up, seeing their contact card, and then adding them to whatever group or contact group that you've actually created. From there, you can see whether they're available. You can send them an instant message, call them, or here, if you click your shish kebab, you can start a chat. You can email them a message. You can see here the email callback reminder and chat callback reminder are grayed out. You can actually use these options once you're in a call if you need to. You can actually remove them from contact or add them to another contact group as well. So you can add them into multiple groups if need be. So as a receptionist, when receiving a call, the call will show up on the left. So here's a call. I'm gonna hit accept. So once you have a call, here's the caller that's calling you. You can obviously, just like in your Teams client, mute, put them on hold, use a dial pad if need be. Here are your options of what you can do in your receptionist console. I have highlighted blind transfer. That's been set in my settings to auto default to a blind transfer. But I also have here what's called a safe transfer and a consultative transfer. A blind transfer is just that, where I want to send this customer straight over to someone else by simply doing the one click. So if this caller calls in and wants to speak with someone on your account, Phil Henry, for example, and just click call for Phil Henry, and they're calling Phil Henry. When he accepts that call is now delivered to Phil Henry and I'm off the phone. Another example we'll use is the safe transfer. So let's get another call coming in. Caller's calling you, hit accept. You've now answered that call. So if you want to do what's called a safe transfer is where you're going to send that caller over to your recipient. But if they don't answer, you can actually grab that call back. So here, if I choose safe transfer, we'll just click call Phil Henry. You can see now that that caller is now calling Phil Henry. So Phil Henry's phone is ringing. It says safe transferring to Phil Henry for an 8-9 second delivery time. If he takes and answers that call, you're done. However, if he doesn't, that call will come back to you and you can resume this caller. So you can see here, out of 24 seconds, the call failed to go to Phil Henry, so I can pick this caller back up and ask where they would like to be sent to, but Phil Henry's not available. While I have this call, I can show you the consultative. So a consult transfer is where you actually want to talk to the person that you're transferring your caller to before you actually transfer them over. So here I'm going to click consult transfer. And I'm going to do the same thing. We'll use Phil Henry as an example. I'm going to click call. I'm on the phone with Phil Henry. The caller is on hold. Hey, Phil Henry, how you doing? Listen, I've got Bill Fisher on the phone. He wants to speak to you a second. You got a minute to talk to him? You don't? Okay, I'll let him know. You can hang up with Phil Henry and resume your original call with your caller. If Phil Henry is available, sure, absolutely, send him right over. Okay, great. You complete that consult transfer by clicking consult transfer here. That call is going to Phil Henry, and now that call is connected to him. There's two other options as a receptionist. If someone's not available to take a call, you can send what's called a callback email reminder or callback message reminder. So here, let's show you. Get another caller on the phone, accept the call. Caller wants to talk to Mary Johnson. What you can do here is when you're on the phone talking to someone, your shish kebab beside each person. Now that you actually have a live call, you can see here that the email callback reminder and chat callback reminder are highlighted. So you can use these options. If you click email callback reminder, it will pop you up an email, ready and auto-formatted. Hello, Mary Johnson, the person that you're wanting to transfer to. Please call. The person that called you is in that email. They called at this date and this time, and it has your signature. And you can send this email as a callback reminder to Mary Johnson. Another option is a message, a chat callback reminder. So say Phil Henry, for example. If I click chat callback reminder, there's a chat. It's basically the same information, but it's going to be sent to him in chat. Please call Bill Fisher. They called you at this is such and such time, And the start link is actually going to give him in chat a link he can actually click to call that caller back, the actual customer that was on the phone. This start link is something that will be an actual hyperlinked link in the chat that Phil Henry can click on to call this person back. If I click send, that chat has now been sent to Phil Henry. He gets it in chat. I can explain to the customer that they weren't available, but I've chatted them and they should be calling him back here shortly. Or I've emailed the person. When they get in the office, they'll return his call and hang up. A few other options to set up your email callback and chat callback is in the settings. So clicking your shish kebab for your settings option. Your transfer options. So here, by auto default, my blind transfer was set by default. That is the transfer mode on answer. I can have none, choose safe, consultative, or the chat, or add participant. These are options that I can actually add as a default when I have a call. Your callback messages. So here is actually the template for your callback message. Your callback message, please call the caller ID's name, the person that called you. They called at this date, at this time. There is the link. If you want this out, you can actually edit by taking this information out. You can actually add other information here. So maybe I wanted to add something else, maybe the call time. So these are inserts that you can add into your message. You have an option to add or delete these add-ons. You can also reset this to default. The same thing with the email. So the email format that you're going to be sending can be edited, literally, totally by you. You can add your personal signature in here if you'd like. Hello, that's the person that you're actually sending the email to. Please call Bill Fisher back. They called at this date and this time, and there's their callback number. You can also add, if you choose, the start call link. So they will have a link in their email that they can click. It'll pop open an immediate Teams call calling this customer back. You can obviously, again, reset this back to default and start over if you choose to. That's under transfer. Devices are the devices that you're using for your console. What you're using for speaker, what you're using for microphone, and what is ringing. I've set my ringer to be my USB external speakers, so I can hear that actually outside of my headset. But I have my headset used for the microphone, and for speaker, I have it as my computer speaker. If I want that as my headphone, I can do the same. So now my speaker is my headphone where I'm hearing my callers, and my microphone is where I'm actually talking to my callers through this microphone. You can also make a test call. The layout we've already went through. This is the layout configuration of your panel itself. So go back to settings, keyboard shortcuts. So shortcuts is something that you could add instead of actually clicking whether you want to call someone, whether you want to instant message them, etc. To answer a phone call, you can use F6 if you choose instead of clicking answer. To decline, you can choose something. So any and every option as an action, you can actually set a key combination for that option instead of actually using your mouse to click. Quick access shortcuts, you can add new ones. So these, like maybe caller, open a wedge page shortcut. You can add shortcuts in here that you'd like that can be added maybe to the top of this. Quick access shortcuts. If I add new open web page shortcut. So here I would put a new web page. So here's basically where I can click something to open up a URL of a specific page, that kind of thing. So you have quick access shortcuts that are available within your console to make your console very convenient for you for other things other than just taking calls. Permissions. This is going to be for you to have permissions in your console to access your voicemail. So use to get unread voicemails to the user. So this is an unread message. Grant consent. Use to get voicemail details for the user, and then use to manage chat threads required for some call scenarios. So basically, you want to come in here to your permissions and grant permissions to all three of these. So this coincides with your actual Teams account. Advanced number normalization rules. So this is important if you're an international dialer. So if you have an international, in other words, outside of the US, you can actually create a new pattern of translation. This is like +1 for the United States, 1 being the long distance code. Well, for other countries, it's something else. So you can actually create those rules for international dialing. About is the software that you have for your actual console. If you choose to sign out, you can sign out of this console and stay logged into your Teams account if you want. You don't need to actually log into your Teams client at all. This is a search or dial. So here you can actually dial any number. If you have a number affiliated with your Teams account, if you're a receptionist or an attendant and have a number, an actual physical number tied to and licensed to your Teams user, then you're able to make outbound calls. So you can actually dial a 10-digit number and actually call. Use this as a dialer versus a keypad. So you can actually make and receive calls from this console, not having to log into your Teams. But understand your Teams client is where you'll receive your instant messaging, your calendar, and Teams actual, created teams and channels under those teams. So you may want to log into your Teams client in addition to your console, but it is not necessary. This concludes your training. Thank you for joining.